Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. Today is a very, very special day for our podcast. Now, most people would say, after they find out, anyways, why would this thing be special? Well, today's a special day. We
Because it
have
is.
we have a guest that is controversial. He's nefarious. He is an absolute terror on server 22. It's Johny Chainsaw.
Here's Johnny.
Welcome to the show, Johnny.
Like I said to you guys a little bit earlier, there's finally a voice behind the infamous name. But thanks a lot for having me on the podcast. I appreciate it.
Thank you for contacting us because we had talked about saying, how cool would it be to have Johnny on the show? And Ramius is like, yeah, that would be cool. And then all of a sudden, we had a bunch of inquiries once they found out about the show, and then after Noli and Wingo jumped on, they're like, we could talk to Johnny if you wanted to. I'm going, huh? Really?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, man. Like I said, it's really cool that you're here. And no, Johnny's not a damn bot. He's Johny freaking Chainsaw. He's the man. He's here, and it's awesome to have him on the show. So so stop trying to hack him to try to kill him. It doesn't work that way. He's actually a human being. He bleeds.
I bleed. I am. He's not a machine. He's a man.
He just works like a machine. Just
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, like I said, today's a really cool day. As far as for our show goes, and for our server. I mean, most people that are not on server 22 don't get the fact of who you are and what you do. So if you don't mind, for those out there that are listening that have no idea who you are, or may not really have a deep enough clue, tell us what it is that you do.
Well, I don't know. So first off, I'm just playing a game on the phone, right? Like, there's no special recipe to this or anything. But when I downloaded this game, if anybody told me I would arguably be one of the most well-known people on server 22, I would have told them they were crazy. But pretty much is I just go around, and I think rules of engagement is a made-up rule by the galaxy, and I'm kind of just playing my game, and I don't really want other people telling me how I should play it. And that's about it. Yeah, I hit other people's ships, but I don't think I'm some evil bad guy flying around either.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people.
There are lots of people that would disagree with
that. Yeah, there's a lot of people that definitely disagree. But the thing is, though, and it's like we had chatted just a little bit before. As far as you go around hitting ships and hitting miners, I mean, yeah, you got me a couple times, but I've also got you too. It's just that's how the game is. I don't know. You've gotten. I think you probably hit at least everybody on the server that you could possibly hit at your level, whatever level you're moving at.
Well, that's part of it too. Is people don't want to hit certain people because I don't know if they're afraid of certain people or what. But with all the new updates that this game has had, especially with base defense and stuff, like, I don't know why wouldn't you want to just have fun with your ships, like.
Oh,
yeah, mining is great and all, but why do you want to waste your time staring at a screen that has 4 ships out just collecting res? Like, you can do so much more. And for me, a lot of it is just making my own content for the game, right?
Oh, like, absolutely.
Yeah, sure. Scopely puts out events for us, and they're great and all, and they're fun when they happen, but they leave a lot of room for you to kind of create your own content. And in my case, the content I like to create is very PvP based, hidden stations, hidden ships, having people chase me. Like, trust me, if nobody chased me, if the hunt was gone of people trying to get my station or catch me off guard or catch me on a mine or catch me sweeping systems, if that aspect to this game wasn't there where people were constantly chasing me, I wouldn't want to play this game because it wouldn't be fun at that point. But luckily, that's not the issue I run into.
Well, hey, nobody get any ideas. We really kind of need him here, so keep chasing his ass.
But, you create your own content, and you play the game how the developers intended.
Sure.
And people forget, like, rules of engagement, they're not real rules. They're created by the community. And going so further, I remember when the rules of engagement really first ever, I don't want to say padded out, but when people really first started talking about, like, okay, how are we going to start handling mining and everything, I was actually on board with rules of engagement. But once people said you had to give 5-minute warnings to zero nods, I said no. I'm walking away from any kind of conversation, and the galaxy will pay for wanting to have 5-minute warnings on zero nods, because in my opinion, that just meant people were away from the game. And if you're away from the game, you shouldn't be allowed to have a nod that you're taking away from another player, or no.
Okay. And
that ran down like the first 5 questions right there.
Yeah, believe it or not. Well, that's the one thing, like me, as far as I go, I kind of, trust me, I have zero problem hitting anybody, and I kind of showed this morning I didn't give a flying rat's ass. I will pop anybody if it moves. I also do try to get. I mean, I kind of have the balance of, if you're able to mine to get resources to get stronger, then that's what the mining's for. There's obviously that PvP aspect, and if you can't PvP with somebody and you want to PvP with them, but you're not quite on that level, you have to mine. You have to gather resources. So I see that there's a balance that, it's nice to let people mine up, get stronger, and then you can actually have that fun, the use that you like to have, as far as people chasing you and PvP and all that. I enjoy it myself. I know Ramius enjoys it, but it's kind of one of the things, like, it kind of comes in seasons. Like, we'll PvP, and then we'll dig for resources and mine and build up, and then we'll go back to PvP. And so it's kind of a back and forth type thing.
Maybe for some people it's back and forth, but I think at this point I'm just all in on PvP. There's no turning back now.
No.
I probably can't mine too terribly.
You imagine the galaxy just flying their ships around like, oh, there's Johnny mining again. Well, hey, good. Let's let him be. let's let him go OP on that mine before we go pop his ship. No, it's it gets posted to Alliance chat, and people are like, oh, there's Johnny's ship mining in a 17-minute warp from now. And then 12 people say, I'm on my way. I've
seen that happen.
Then it's the great race of who could pop my miner first. And, it's people like to.
Do you sit there with the timer?
Rules of engagement.
Do you sit there with the timer? I'm going to put this miner out here. I'm going to see exactly how long it takes somebody to hit my ass.
No, you know what? I did it. So I only maxed out 1 rep. I maxed out Klingon, and you had to mine to get your Klingon rep up and everything. And that's why I did it. And now I just do it to get my dailies. And as soon as I've hit my dailies, I'm pretty much done mining. And with my miners, with my Horizon, and I have a K-Vort, by the time it takes me I'll send out 2 ships to 2 different systems. I expect both them to get hit. And by the time they do get hit, I've already gotten, a little bit over half of my daily mining goal. And then I'll do it again, and that's it. And then that's it for me mining for the day. Nice. So I need about 25,000 in resources to complete my mining goal. Sometimes I get real lucky and people aren't really paying attention to my miners, and then other times it's super hard, but it just comes with the territory, man. Like, they're not hurting my feelings.
Well, that's a good thing, because I don't know. Part of me loves hearing the fact that you're on the show, just because of, obviously it's just cool having you here. But the other part of me is like, man, do we really want to take and put Johnny out there as being a human being, or do you just want to leave him to be everybody's pain in the ass, and just, instead of showing some sort of human side to him, because you do create content.
Sure.
You generate conversation. you've had people that are just like, oh, this asshole will come through here and hit me, and don't get me wrong, I've been was like, this fucker hit me. I just got in the damn system.
And definitely, but you got to realize too, like, as much as the Galaxy doesn't really want to say I provide any kind of service to them, I do in a way because I clear all those nodes that people are just sitting on for sometimes days at a time. Like, they're taking it away from other players, especially the low level players. Call it the, I don't know, 23 to 26, where they're afraid of all these big guys with their faction ships guarding guarding all these mines and stuff. And I'll just come in and I just assume that everybody's away from the computer. So I'm just going to go in and hit them all,
Yep, just
I
take
don't
them
care.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
and that's the one thing. It's like you say, other people are like, oh my god, the ghost wells and some of the even JLP wells. They're like, oh my god, they're over there. I'm not gonna go in that system. I got news for your ass. I'm going in there. I'm gonna park next to Node. If I park right next to you, I'm parking right next to you. What are you gonna do? Destroy my ship? Okay, fine. I'll just rebuild it and bring it.
yeah, and then it's funny too because people will say a lot of times like, "Oh, Johnny, you're such a coward. You run away." Yeah, like what do you want me to do? Do you want me to just like clear our system and then like, oh, now I'm gonna put the 5 minute clock on until somebody finally comes and takes out my ship?
Right.
Like, I'm sorry that your ship was in a 10-minute warp and you didn't get to the system before me to take out my ship. And then other times it's like, well, why would I want you to destroy my ship? And people are like, because you're a coward. I'm like, I don't think you understand how this game works.
Yeah, it doesn't work how you think it works, and that's the one
Yeah,
thing.
like,
Well, here I'm gonna read something, which I thought was absolutely hilarious from last night, and I'm even gonna name drop. I typically don't like to do this, but since you brought that up, this right here, this was gonna go in the van on another episode, but I'm actually gonna bring it up here. Um, Dr. Lou, me and then the crew, we went out last night, did some raiding. I needed a little bit of titanium, so it was more than what I can mine fast enough. So I just needed to do an upgrade. And then I get this message. Why don't you, or why don't you shield and we can go toe to toe since you felt it necessary to steal from me? And then he obviously made a correction. He goes, unshield. I said, oh, boo hoo. I was thinking, all right, well, this is content. This is going to be funny. Um, he goes, so unshield and let's go. And I said, I guess you should have been shielded and you wouldn't have this problem. How tough are you when I'm not depleted by your alliance? And my first thought of that was like, what do you mean depleted by my alliance? You got cracked and I helped drain your ass. So welcome to the game.
It is what it is.
Yeah. So I commented back, whiny ass Tribble, because I used to be part of the Tribbles way back when. You remember who the Tribbles were?
I love hitting
Damn.
Tribbles, man.
Hey, you know what? Tribbles are tasty. They're like, you hit them up, treat them like roadkill, fry them up, throw them outside.
Well, when I was in the Missy Alliance, we had a nap with the Tribbles, and as soon as I got out of that alliance, that that nap ended real quick.
Right. So I want to continue on here. Just a couple more lines, real quick. He goes, I was, but it was called having a social life. I'm like, I got a social life too, but I was playing my game at the time, not enjoying my social life. Because when I go enjoy my social life, me and another member of our alliance, him and his family took me and my wife out to dinner last Saturday. So what did I do? I put a bubble up. It's called bubble management. Learn it. So anywho,
shield or share.
Yeah, I know, right? Shield or share, right?
That's the way it works.
So he's like, again, his comment was, so it's called having a social life. I'm like, well, congratulations, you have a social life. You should have shielded up. I said, well, why don't you just take your butthurt self somewhere else before you end up on somebody's podcast? My podcast.
Yeah.
Rabius. Today with Johnny. That podcast. Guess what? Welcome to the show, buddy. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
So he goes, keep it up, asshat. You're going to get your whole alliance targeted. I promptly replied as laughing my effing ass off. So,
man, if I had a nickel for every time somebody said they were going to target my alliance with me.
Dude, you wouldn't be you'd probably be a whale in the
I'd
game
be
if you had a nickel
I'd
every
be. I think I'd be a level 3
time.
by now. That's a
Hey,
lot of nickels, but I think I could do it.
the funny thing is though, you would have the strongest ships out there. You wouldn't have weak ships, quote unquote, anymore.
You know what the funny thing about targeted alliances is? It's just people being lazy. That's the only. I think that's the best way I could boil it down to. It's just they're lazy. They can't attack you, or they don't want to put the time and effort. And like I said, the most important resource in this game is just time, because that's what this game is. It's a lot of time. You have to put a lot of time playing the game, and I hate to break it to your listeners, but if they're putting the time in to listen to this podcast, they've played this game for a long amount of time. And money's one thing, and I think everybody's spent a little bit, but time is the biggest asset to this game. It helps you grind. This game isn't an easy game. It's not a fly through game. You have to grind everything. You have to grind levels. You have to find good stations to raid. You have to find ships that are either you know overprotection or just do what I do and hit everything you could beat.
Well, it's funny you say
Right.
that the listeners of our podcast. Believe it or not, I actually have listeners of this podcast that are they're good friends of mine. The boys over at the Saucy Podcast, Scooter and Joey. They don't play this game at all. I've known Joey for a good solid 11 years now, and there are actually people that don't listen to the listen to this podcast that don't play the game, and I would actually like to bring those listeners into the game. I mean, they may not be able to be on the server with us, in our particular server. And they may get lucky whenever they open it up. But I would actually like to bring those folks in that don't play the game to experience the game, see what we're talking about, and if they get hooked, they get hooked. Great, and if they don't, spit the bait out and go do something else. So
All right,
they're
let me
actually.
rephrase it. The people that have played this game have spent a lot of time.
Oh,
Then I think that's
oh no,
a
hey,
fair
no,
assumption.
yeah, and honestly, I didn't take any offense to the statement. It takes a lot for me to really get offended, by something like that. But the thing is, though, you're right. If you're listening to this podcast, you've played this game for quite a while. You know who I am.
You're invested. You're
Yeah,
invested
Yeah,
in the game. You want to learn more about it. You want to participate in the community, not just the screen time itself.
right.
So that's
and
what we like about it.
and that's a big thing you guys talked about too. Is just the community aspect of this game. Like, yeah, I might not talk a lot in Galaxy Chat because Galaxy Chat could be a little toxic. I don't think
Oh
that's any kind of secret.
no, hell no, it ain't, man.
But I'm always talking in my alliance chat. On our JLP Discord, I have Johnny's love letter group, and I have just the general chat. And I'll chat once in a while with guys. But
Well, I mean, hell, I mean, let's just let's again. I don't want to take too much away from the robot side of you, but hell, just this week, me and you chatted quite a bit and had a really good conversation. So that's the one cool thing about this game is the fact of the community. And I'm sure you listened to the other episode where I actually talked about my PlayStation clan that I'm in, and that's what this game reminds me of. It reminds me of when I started gaming with the family that I have on my PlayStation network, and it's it's one of those things that everybody's like, well, how do you meet and talk to people? Well, again, one of our alliance members lives not too far away from where I do, and we become very very good friends. And he actually the company that I work for now is because of him. He opened the door for me. I walked in and did the rest of it, so to speak. But if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be working where I'm working at today. So um, the community, you're part of the community, regardless of what anybody thinks. You're part of our community, and as odd as this is for some people to hear, I'm thankful for you being here. You bring a different side. You bring the quote unquote bad guy, to a
well,
game.
what's that saying? Everybody loves a good villain.
Yeah, everybody loves a good villain.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It
So
takes both sides in order to have a well-rounded community.
and,
And
trust me, bud. I've benefited from your game style.
and I think I talked about a little bit before we started the podcast with you guys. Is people think that my game style there's no repercussions. There's, oh, Johnny just goes and does whatever he wants. Like, come on, please. Everyone needs to know that, like, A, I'm not allowed to just go out and mine for multiple ships on multiple mines until I'm over protection on every one. It's just, that's not how it works. Like, I go around and try to do missions and stuff. People pop my ships all the time, but that's why I keep coming back because it's content, right? I can't even imagine just sitting there day after day with ships on mines doing absolutely nothing. Yeah, sure, maybe like ships would be a little bit more powerful. What's the point? I don't see it.
Right.
And I guess for some people that's fun, but not for me. I want people to track my station. I want people to track my ships. I want people to chase me around the galaxy because it's creating your own content, right?
Hmm.
And a lot of people think JLP has this, like, I don't know, miss over them where we're the bad guys of the server. But if you really break it down, and in my opinion, and I'm sure everybody else listening is going to have a heart attack hearing me say this, but everybody likes to call JLP, like, I guess it's a little better to talk more Star Wars, and even though this is a Star Trek game, but like JLP's the Empire, and the rest are the Rebel Alliance. No, like the rest of Galaxy is the evil Emperor who wants to put this rules of engagement on players, and we're just this very small band of like resistant fighters who are like, no, we're not going to play by your made up rules. And then people are like, well, Johnny's a bully. Johnny goes around hitting ships. Let's start hitting their ships until they kick him. And I'm like, whoa, who's the bully in this situation?
Right. Well,
And they're like, make
yeah.
Johnny quit. We need to make him quit. We need to somebody message his alliance leader and tell him we're going to war with them because Johnny's a bully. They need to play by our rules. And it's like, whoa, everybody, let's take a step back. Like, what's really going on here? It's just like, I'm sorry that your made up rules that only work in your benefit, which don't work in my benefit, you need me to play by them. I just don't find that fair.
Right. Well, and I'll say one thing as far as the rules of engagement go. I look at our alliance's rules of engagement, of how we treat other people. I can't say that we actually expect other people to, because that's kind of a misnomer as far as where we go. We do not expect other alliances to abide by the rules that we have as far as our alliance goes. It's again, I think from my opinion and my perspective, the rules of engagement that we have for our alliance is to keep us honest and fair on with ourselves.
Yeah, but how much time have you wasted having to handle messages from other alliance leaders, whether it's through Discord or in game, having to deal with minor hits? Like, you've
Well,
probably wasted more time doing that.
yeah.
Let me speak to that.
Well, I can actually speak to
Last
that as well, but yeah.
last night I spent a good hour dealing with that on my anniversary. And I finally, you know what? I'm out, guys. If you guys don't have a better solution for this, we'll deal with it tomorrow. They're like,
Yeah.
but you need to address this. I'm like,
no.
no, I don't. You need to behave like adults.
You'd be like, I just wasted an hour of my time dealing with one envoy hit because somebody like had their feelings hurt.
Wow.
It gets a little extreme. Like, that's why from the JLP point of view, we're just like, we're going to play by Scopely's rules, and whatever they dictated through the terms of service is how we're going to play the game. And I'm sorry that you guys don't like that.
Well, and that's that. Like that's what I was saying before. As a Commodore with INS a while back, I dealt with like, what, just if you can't get along, then go bug off somewhere. Because the way I see it is this: the only time that rules of engagement would actually work is this: if you have two alliances that are like-minded, that are on competing ends, but are like-minded as far as how to handle things in a and I don't want to say gentleman-like manner because I don't want to offend anybody because people tend to get their panties in a wad with that stuff. But if it's just kind of like a gentleman's agreement, if you will. If you have two alliances that are willing to play that way, then cool. Then you play that way with those two alliances, together. But if there's another alliance, like say JLP, well, I will play by your quote unquote or lack thereof rules of engagement. You hit my minor, okay, cool. I'm gonna come around, I'm gonna pop your ass as soon as I see you, and I'm gonna take your node, or I'm gonna PvP with you or whatever. So I actually play the game from my end, as long as I have alliances that I know that they have very similar rules of engagement, then I don't mind playing with rules of engagement. If there's an alliance out there that have no rules of engagement, then they're fair game.
Yeah, but Shadi, you got to remember from your point of view, what you're saying is that only works if you're going to play JLP style with everyone. Now, to say, oh, well, Johnny hit my minor, so I'm just going to in turn hit JLP back because JLP is all the same. Well, it really gives a lack of understanding to the rest of the galaxy that they don't understand JLP's playstyle. Like, while yes, we are in the same alliance, we're just a group of solo players that want alliance rewards. That's all it really boils down to.
No. What I meant about it, maybe you might have misunderstood. It's like like say we'll just pick Gordon for instance. If Gordon doesn't have any rules of engagement, and I can engage them however they engage everybody else, then that's fine. But I like to play. I like to play the game, and not necessarily like I don't want to say a fair manner, because it's a game. It's a PvP. You're going to hit things. But as far as like I'll just use our relationship with our sister alliance, Egghull. We're not going to hit them, period, for any
Sure.
reason. Just like JLP wouldn't hit any of the JLP sister alliances. It's just not something that you do. But if there
Yeah.
is an alliance that we have a nap with, or we have an agreement with, then I will treat them accordingly, as far as the rules of engagement go, as far as a nap or an agreement. But like I said, if there's alliance out there that they don't, that they're just like, hey, we're going to hit everybody. Cool. I have zero problem returning the favor because I think that's fair. You
No,
know.
and you know what? Maybe that's fair, but there's definitely like the targeting of certain alliances because people just don't like that they have freedom or don't like that they don't play by their made up set of rules too.
Right.
And there's a lot of that happens to JLP, which, you know, I'll, I'm not going to mention any in game names, but there's certain players that want to make coalitions and go around and just target our alliance because we don't play by rules of engagement, which is fine. And I actually like it. Like, you understand what a Shakespearean tragedy is? Like, there's a couple plots to a Shakespearean tragedy. And like, the main one is that the hero of their own story, their actions are what causes their own demise. And I think a lot of these players that go around and just target JLP are the heroes of their own stories, and all their actions end up being their own demise. The hardest thing that I've ever found in this game since I've started is trying to like rally up other players. Like, hey, let's go hit all these players. Like, let's go. You have the strongest ships on our alliance. Like, use your ships the way I wish I could use your ships, and you don't even get responses. And like, it's a very sweet feeling when those people, their miners start getting popped, and then like you barely ever see them say a word in alliance chat, and then they get all fired up. They're like, I'm gonna go clear all these alliances. And then I'm sitting back reading alliance chat like, yes, thank you. Finally, like,
Yep, you're
it's
engaged. You're
because
doing it.
yep. And no matter what I do, I can't rally these people up. But once their miners start getting hit, like, they finally get into it. And that is the best win that I could ever get, like from this game's standpoint. But the only way they could do that is those other alliances start it, and that's why I call it yeah, does it glorify a little bit to call it a Shakespearean tragedy? Yeah, of course it does.
It's a
But it's
catalyst.
but it's the truth. Like, the heroes of their own stories are the ones that cause their own demise. And there's a few people out there who have caused the demise of a lot of alliances, you know, especially like trying to go after JLP because we are the most battle hardened minor warfare people. in this game. Like, there's not a single person in JLP who's just like, yeah, my miner's never been hit. I just go around, do whatever I please.
Yeah, that's
You know,
not gonna
there's
happen.
there's nobody out there saying that. So when these other alliances who I hit daily, and again, like I tell you, I have to create my own content. So to get these people to rally for the same cause is pretty awesome to me. So
Well,
that's just kind of my 2 cents on that.
no, no, and that's a cool thing. Again, like this whole podcast this is what we do. We want to bring everybody's opinion into it and how they feel and how they like it. I don't expect, really, I don't. And Ramius, if I'm out of line by what I said earlier, chime in on that one. But I I don't expect anybody to play by our rules. I really don't. Yeah, I mean, I like the rules of engagement. It's a nice thing. It keeps me honest, so to speak, if you will, whenever we're dealing with friendly alliances that we're friends with. It's competitive, but that we're maybe friends with or we got an agreement with. But as far as that goes, I mean, in reality, we are our own alliance. We obviously got the Columbia side of the family, but it's a game. It's there to have fun. If they didn't want us hitting other miners, they wouldn't give us the opportunity to hit them. They wouldn't put the mechanics in the game to say, "Oh, guess what? We'll pop them
Right.
out." And like I said, I'm gonna piss off a lot of people. I really am, and I know I am. And if I piss you off, good. Play the damn game. Because if it brings some sort of fire to you that you want to go out there and you want to interact in the game a little more, then great. I kind of feel like you do as far as generating some sort of movement with somebody. That's the reason, again, it's the reason why we're doing this podcast is we want to generate some sort of movement with inside somebody and not necessarily a bowel movement, but I mean, some sort of a movement. So it's either crap or get out the pot. With
let me give you a quick example. So JLP, it was one of the oldest naps in the game. Keep in mind, old is a relative term in a game that's only been around for a year, but we had a nap with, at the time, a very strong alliance Ghost.
Right.
And people started, which this was awesome. This gave me a lot of joy. But other people in the galaxy started hitting Ghost miners because they were napped with me. I mean, how far they had to be removed that my miner hitting started getting their ships hit was just, first of all, it was hilarious, but them getting hit was one of the reasons you would have to get really a Ghost leadership member on to get the total truth. But one of the reasons they ended that nap with us was because of JLP's playstyle. While JLP's playstyle didn't affect their ships at all because they were protected, right? Like I wasn't allowed to hit their ships, very similar to how I don't hit any of our sister alliance ships. But because they weren't getting hit, people were now retaliating against their alliance, because I don't know if it was a jealousy factor or what, but people have this weird notion of what's fair. I love that word in this, fair. What is fair in this game? It was like, well, Ghost isn't getting hit, so we need to clear their miners because of one player from one alliance that they have a nap with. And it was just, from the outside looking in, people wouldn't even be able to understand that.
Yeah, there is no fair. This is just a platform.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity for us to go in and do our thing, and each one of us does our thing in our own way. Ultimately, the rules of engagement are nothing more than manners, and it says how we're going to conduct ourselves with others. And outside of that, it is what it is, just like you were saying.
And with manners too, you treat somebody the way you want them to treat you back. And how I treat people, but that's how I want them to treat me back. Like I told you, to be hunted is the reason I play this game. Like I want people to and like I told you, time is the most valuable resource. I want people to waste time to try to better, get the best of me as a gamer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you just went around and no one was ever trying to stop you, like that sounds like a terrible game. So it's creating creating my own content and playing the game the way Scopely deserves it to be played. And the only way I could kind of put Scopely is they're like the gun runners. they're selling guns to both sides. They don't care.
Yes.
They don't care who wins this war.
Yes.
They're selling guns to both sides.
They're the ones sitting back going, cha-ching, cha-ching,
Yeah.
cha-ching.
Every time I log on to this game, Scopely says Johny Chainsaw, he's a cash register because he's making all these other alliances buy packs,
Well,
when my ship's flying around, it's going cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching for Scopely.
See, you hands down have been the biggest gun salesman of 2019 for Scopely.
Yeah. I don't know how true that really is. Have people really went out and spent money just because of me?
Yes, I know for a fact. Yes, not me.
That is.
But yes, I know 100% fact. Arabius, should we drop a name?
Sure, you can drop a name.
I'm sure this name might ring a bell. Drelor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guarantee you, the old man he dropped some cash because of you. Now, and Jalor, if you're listening to this, I still love you, boss. But we're bringing facts to the table here.
But I hope those players who do drop money to attack me, I hope that they're getting joy out of the game. I hope it's not just them like going next level crazy where they're just like, I need to get this guy,
Well, and that's
the thing, that they're getting there. It's fun to them to chase me the same way it's fun for me to be chased.
Yeah, and that's the one thing. I've spent money. It's like, oh, cool, my ships are stronger now. I can actually go do more. I can, like you said, it brings joy. I don't play the game to play it as a militant type movement, if you will. Some sort of everyday muscle memory. I get out there to play, and I enjoy it. I go out and mine a little bit, and I find a lot of joy with the PvP side myself. But I like the fact of the refinery. I got there and mine up a bunch of stuff, and it's like, oh, sweet, got a rare. Throw that in there. Cool. That's just one more rare that I didn't have before, and it's one of those things that it's like it's kind of them hard to find things. If you can find something that's hard to find and you finally get it in your hands, like, oh wow, I finally got that, cool, and then you move on to the next one.
Definitely, and I encourage you to go out and mine because I just wait for you to get over protection and then boop. There was a while where everybody's like, well, what Johny does, there's no way to like keep growing the way he plays. For a while, I had over a million of ore, gas, and crystal. I had over a million in raw materials that I hadn't had a chance to do batches yet because I would wait for bonus refineries. Trust me, I understand there's some miners out there who would laugh at a million of each, but then there's some other players out there who are probably like, I don't even have a million of each. And, I provided screenshots of people with that. It's all gone now. As soon as bonus refineries came, 150K a batch goes pretty quick, but
right.
By all means.
And I kind of mentioned to you before we started recording the podcast is if there was a leaderboard for just 3-star raw res or, material rated, that would be me because a lot of it is accidental. I'm just flying around, pop. There's some, piece of candy. But then there's also the people out there who say, oh, well, Johny, he's just a pay-the-play player. That's not true at all. And people don't really like to admit the facts that I'm top 30 in resources rated. I've never once been drained. I've been cracked more times than I could count because people love to hit my bases. I've been one-shotted with jellyfish and stuff at level 40. It happens, but nobody's coming in and getting horizon loads or, faction miner loads from my station. So every single piece of resource that I've ever rated, I've never lost. And people love to say in the game how I have these super weak ships, but they don't want to talk about the obvious that I never put a single piece of uncommon into my Kara. I never built the North Star. All my low 3-star ships are tier 4, tier 5. And yeah, I've bought one partial pack of the Bortus when it was 33, and I think now they give you 50 blueprints. And then I bought a few of the monthly packs, but I never bought any of the monthly packs since they've doubled what they offer. I think now it's 10 uncommons per day, but I bought them when they were 5. So I'm in this game for a little less than $600, which some people are going to listen and say, $600 is a freaking lot of money to put in an app game. But there's a lot of people out there who have paid way, way, way more. But people don't want to just like talk about the facts. They're going to say, Johnny, you've bought your way to everything you have. It's like, oh, by the way, Johnny, you have the weakest ships around for your level. And I'm like, you can't have it both ways. You have to pick one. What argument do you want to have with me that might?
Well, yeah, and that's one of the things, like you said, you if you have the strongest ships at your level, then you've either grinded out way too much and you have zero social life or zero life at all, and it's just a game, or you've spent the money to get that way. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying that everybody has done that, but trust me, I don't have the strongest like right now. Pull up my Kira, or my Kumari. It's sitting at a tier 5. I got one more to go, and I just picked up a Mayflower the other day. That's still leveling up. I've also leveling my base up. So it's either you level up your base and you stop where you're at as far as that level goes, and then you work on whatever ships that you have at that point and work on that and stay there. And you could be there for months. Like right now, I've been at level 26 for roughly a month and a half, maybe.
A month.
Yeah,
A month.
yeah, about a month. And right now, I could, if I wanted to pull a trigger, I could go ahead and hit to 27. It's 6 days, 23 hours from now. But I could go ahead and hit 27 right now. But instead, I'm working on, I did my Horizon. I'm working on that. I've got my Kumari that I'm working on. I got my Vakas that I'm working on, and I'm tearing those up because I don't have the capability right now to throw $100 at a Bortus pack or a Barrel pack or what have you. So
But you got to also.
I'm working on with what I've got.
So what I did was I just totally ignored a bunch of ships. I never got a D3. I never got one of those very early, faction ships. I got a Bortus, and that was it. And the way I play, it would be impossible to get to do what I do if you dual faction or grind, which I think it's a great way to dual faction because you get your dailies become a lot easier. But the way I do it is I single faction grind, so I maxed out rep, and I never even tried switching back over. So I constantly get those faction credits daily, and they add up. Once you max out a faction and you hit that, what is it, champion? I think it's champion. Once you hit that champion level, like every time you do dailies, you're going to start getting faction credits way faster than you ever did before. And do I wish that I had the ability to dual faction grind? Yeah, maybe. But I also know all the benefits I've gotten for just single faction grinding.
Yeah, the game was designed around a single faction level up. And so when we do the others, like splitting into 2 factions or 3 factions, then you start changing the overall mechanics. Makes it harder, actually.
Yeah,
In
it
some
does.
ways.
But like I had the ability to get a K-Vort just strictly by faction credits, and I've been able to get most of my Bortus with the exception of 33 of the blueprints through, faction grinding. And it's pretty sweet. Like I don't know. I know a lot of people like find trouble in doing this, but like I told you, the most valuable resource in this game is time. It's just the amount of time you're going to put in.
Or what time, how much time you're willing to put in, because that's
willing.
That's going to be the big thing there. Like I said, I have a family. I got a wife, kids. I got friends, family, stuff like that go visit. Holidays come around. I didn't really spend a whole lot of time. I try to get my dailies done through the day when I didn't have anything going on or I wasn't interacting with my family. But like I said, I've got 3 kids at home and a 65-pound chainsaw running around the house. I got a big ass pit bull. She's just a big baby, but yeah, I have time. I have my family. I have things that I like to do, and I like to game a little bit. Get on the PlayStation, play a little Call of Duty. So I try to spread myself out not too thin, but there's some days where I'm a little bit heavier on the game, or if I'm trying to find some content for the podcast, but it's like Rami was just talking earlier. Um, we talk daily. Yeah, we're constantly talking strategy as far as the podcast goes. We're always working on something, and Ramius has his corner of the world of the tips and tactics. So we're going to add this last section was Johnny's tips and tactics as far as single faction leveling. But all joking aside, this is just kind of things that we do as far as I'll talk with him through the day while I'm at work. And I have some freedom because I'm kind of my own boss as far as what I do for work. And I do answer to a higher level, um, but as far as me being free out in the field, I don't really have any restrictions. I try to limit certain hot zones that I'm in as far as being on the phone, um, and talking as far as that goes. But I also have other friends and family that through the day
Yeah.
I try to spend a little bit of time with them, and I'm not actually glued to the game.
No,
Or I actually if I'm on, I'll chat in or I'll watch TV and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go throw a miner on. I'm still sitting there. I'm still monitoring it. So if I see somebody moving at me, every once in a great while, somebody will catch me off guard. I was mining some data the other day or yesterday, and I barely got OP. And for what I was OP, I could have picked it up in 15 minutes. When I was barely OP, I was like, yeah, well, you're not gonna get that. So I just hit the bounce out button and roll back home. I'm sure they were disheartened because I just so happened to look over and went, huh, it flashed. I see who's coming to get me. The same, and it's hilarious because it's always the same alliance. It's just different members. They somehow,
Yep.
Gorn, they end up trying. I think they patrol the data area because they don't want to go down there and mine. But what they don't realize, my miner runs like 35 to almost 40K an hour. So you can drain one of those in a half hour. You can drain one of the big mines in a half an hour.
Yeah, but you have to mine to do that. That sounds terrible.
Well, for years.
That's just the most painful sentence I've heard. Like, yeah, maybe you can drain a mine quick, but you still have to do it. Your ship could be hitting other players' ships. Why would you want to do that?
That's the beauty of the two other ships that you have sitting in your dock, or in your case, three others. Throw a miner out, do your mining, and go out and start smashing.
Yeah, but you forget all my ships are super weak, so I can only hit people with one of my ships.
Never mind. Yeah. Get the biggest ship and leave the other ones to guard the front porch while you're out hitting.
Yeah, but I don't want to get to kind of talk a little bit more about the game and just tips. Like, I don't want to give out too many of my tips, but people always say, "Oh, well, why does Johnny clear systems too?" Like, I'm clearing systems because I'm finding out what ships are. You know how some ships float on mines and they'll hide your tags?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'll hit those. And who's the captain that if you hit their ship, it will restore the health of the ship 10%? He's a Romulan. Do you know which?
Oh.
Do you know what I'm talking about? When you hit their ship, it automatically repairs. So those ships, if I need to mine, I'll click on a bunch of mines, and I'm not looking for OP or anything. I'm just looking for that guy as captain of the ship because as soon as I hit that ship, he's now going to go off of the mine and float above it. So I just send my miner right underneath him, and then I'll just mine under somebody else's tag.
Oh, that is freaking hilarious.
Because, I mean, how many people are out there looking for miners to hit because of captains of the ship? But, like, that's some of the tricks I've picked up. And like people are like, how does Johnny mine for his dailies? I never see him mine. And he's like, well, because he was mining under your tag all day.
That makes perfect sense.
That's hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious.
And but I got a lot of
most people would call that an exploit, but it's not. It's just
all right. Well, good. Let's talk about exploits, right?
Yeah, so, I want to talk about Atria.
Everybody wants to talk about like what's considered cheating. You could go under their Scopely's terms and agreements and click on cheating, and it very clearly says that. Maybe you should post it in when you go back and you edit this. Like, while it may look like cheating, if it's not, and if like the player himself is not creating this exploit, it's not considered cheating. I don't know the exact wording for it. Are you familiar with what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've
So
seen it, but I'd have to. We can go find it. It's
yeah,
easy enough to
so
screenshot.
I'll
It's one
screen
thing
share, but yeah, it pretty
it's one thing to have a
it's
bug and it happens, but it's another.
yeah,
I think what they're talking about is bugs are going to happen. If it happens, it happens. But if you're actually creating the bug and you're
yes,
creating the
and
issue and you're messing with the code, that's cheating.
that's not what I think we're doing. I think there's a reason why that captain is doing exactly what he's supposed to do. When that ship is destroyed, he's repairing it back to 10% of its hull and it's not destroyed, right?
Right.
So that ship is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. And I don't think it's really an exploit to just use the game mechanics for my benefit. Because if I don't want to have my miner hit so I could just get dailies, which probably the most counterintuitive thing I could say is Johnny doesn't want his miner hit. But, you know,
Chase
I
me,
don't
don't
think
hit my
it's an exploit.
miner.
And like the famous planet everybody likes to talk about,
Yeah.
where stations couldn't be hit. Like no one really wants to talk about the backstory of that. Is so what? All right. Do you want to kind of give everybody a little story about
Sure.
that planet first? Just because some people listening might not even know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So there was a system, and I'm forgetting the name of it right now, where all of the planet within the system was not able to be hit, and it was
There was one
I think
planet. It was Atrig. There was only
or
one planet.
Madra.
Was it? I thought it
No,
was
it was just
Atrig.
Yeah.
it was the system was entourage or however you say it, and it was one planet within the system
Yeah,
that
but it
the
was
stations
this.
that were parked there couldn't be hit.
But it was this way across every single server, and it was the exact same planet. Because I had talked to other players that were on different servers, and they said, "Yeah, it's the same way on this server
Yeah.
too." So it was
So
one planet, and it was just an absolute bug as far as that planet goes. Sorry, go ahead,
so
Brandis.
and I was one of the people whose station was on that planet. Now, the backstory to this is there was a station on that. The game was still newer at the time, and there was a station on that planet, and he had 10 million tritanium. And at the time, 10 million tritanium, I mean, was just a crazy amount. I want to say we were maybe lower than level 20. So 10 million tritanium at that level is just a crazy amount. We were constantly, as an alliance, trying to hit this station. So we sent in all these bug reports to Scopely through, and said, like, hey, we think this station is bugged. Can you answer back to it? And Scopely responded back to us, like, have you tried clearing localization? Have you downloaded the most up to date version of the app? And none of that was working. So by chance, one of our guys relocated their station to that planet, and then all this craziness started happening. So we all went to the planet. So
Right.
this means one of two things happened. JLP was, in fact, the very first alliance realized that this planet was bugged, and we were the one that discovered it through however many servers there are. We were the first ones to discover it. Or B, we were lied to, and they knew about this glitch. And instead of just saying that to us as players, we were told to clear localization and try updating the most current version of the app.
So
Oh,
having talked to a couple of folks about that, it was a little bit of a combination because I inadvertently ended up on that planet myself before JLP occupied and had reported it as a problem because I couldn't get my ship back to my station. And basically, it was a code issue that they could not correct, and they were having problems with it. They just basically kept blowing people off while they worked on fixing the code across the server or
yeah,
across the
but
servers.
so you got to remember now, as an alliance, we didn't know this. It wasn't like there was some secret plan, like where the developers were like, hey guys, go on this planet. It was just by luck, right? And then everybody was like, oh, well, you're exploiting glitches. Again, we didn't create that glitch. We were, and to be honest, a lot of us were having internal conversations within our alliance saying, like, is this an Easter egg that was produced by the developers? Like, did we discover something? All this. And yeah, it all came out in the end that it wasn't part of the design or anything, but no one knew that. when we were on the planet. And people are like, well, you guys were abusing it because you weren't able to be hit. And you know how many people told me that after I left that planet, I was going to be drained and hunted and I was going to quit? Like, newsflash, like, I'm still around and I've never been raided yet. It's just called shield management.
Right. That's a highly important. That's
Yeah,
a whole
but
nother, whole nother topic.
Yeah.
and it was funny too when they finally did fix the planet. It was weird too because it was well known. Like we were ready for the update. Like it was released on Discord that one of the patches they were going to do is planets where stations couldn't be hit. Like it wasn't even like it was a hot fix where we weren't prepared for it. So we never really felt we were doing anything wrong. And some people might argue that, and probably some people might have taken their phone or computer or however they're listening to this podcast and just smashed it right now listening to me say that. you know
Content,
but
baby,
it's
content.
it's the truth, right? Like I'll say it right now to the whole galaxy. Hey, listen guys, I'm sorry that we happened to find that planet before you. We didn't create it. Did we benefit from it? That's open to interpretation because there's a lot of people that are still angry about that. So I don't know how much benefit you could get from every single alliance hunting you,
Lots of bubbles. Lots of bubbles.
Yeah. I don't. And, to talk to, new players, to really, they need to understand base defense too, or sorry, station defense. Station defense should be fun. I mean, how many times do you go and knock, like, oh, I'm going to go knock this station. Oh, they bubbled after 10 minutes, like they're online. If you knock my station, I am not bubbling. I'm going to let you burn all your ships and if anything, I might even warp out my ships now because repair times and cost to repair ships are so much higher. I'm just going to let you try to attack my station because with the new update, the stations are just beasts now.
Yeah, they really are.
Oh, yeah.
So then people could say, well, is that an exploit? Because now people aren't bubbling and they're making people waste res playing dead. Everything's interpretive, of what is an exploit and what's not. And I'll give you a good example of an exploit, which I didn't know was an exploit. Do you remember when somebody would hit your station and you could like re-up your 10-minute shield? Do you remember that?
Don't remember the re-up.
No, I don't remember that one.
Yeah. So when somebody hits your station, your 10-minute bubble would automatically pop up. So what you could do is if you engaged in PvP with anyone, whether it was a ship or another station, you would reset your 10-minute bubble. So when your station was hit again, that bubble would re-pop up. And I used to use that all the time because
that was back in the 5-minute bubble days.
So people would hit my stations all the time. And so I would just engage in PvP to reset that 10-minute bubble or 5-minute bubble. Mm-hmm. And what that would do is give me time to repair my ships and change out officer loadouts and repair, the turrets of my station or whatever. But they got rid of that. So now where if your station gets hit, you can't auto pop your bubble again. You now have to wait the 2-hour cooldown or whatever it is for your shield to pop up again. Now, I never thought that was an exploit at all, but I guess it was because they removed that feature from the game.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, it's like you said, if it's
didn't think highly of it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. Like it's like you were saying before, and it's the game mechanics. And if the game mechanics were there and they were put in there to play as such, then it should be a legitimate thing. As far as being, everybody else just talk about being fair and honest about it. If it's game mechanics, if that's what it was designed to do, then that's what it was designed to do. You just had to be smarter than whoever was playing the game with you. And like I said, I kind of base life as far as on principle. I have a principle as far as I look at the principles of the whole ordeal. Whether somebody's right or wrong is kind of irrelevant. It's what's the principle of what's there. So if the principle of exactly that base defense is they got hit, automatic 5-minute bubble, go out, 5 minute bubble's over, smack somebody, reset it, boom, re up. They want to try to hit my base again. You're
Yeah,
just playing
because
the game better than somebody else at that point.
if you're going to be on the game and you're actively playing, like you should be rewarded. Like, okay, well, he's online. He could just keep popping 10-minute bubble or 5-minute bubbles or whatever. First of all, I wish 10-minute bubbles went away. I
Yeah,
miss five. I miss
I miss the 5
5-minute
minute
bubbles,
bubbles.
man. I think. I mean, the way station defenses are right now. When it first when it first happened, I purposely you know just played possum and just waited for people to hit my station. And then I was amazed at how strong just station defenses are, taking on like big time 2 million plus power ships. At a at the time I had just level 30 cannons, but I was able to dominate like a lot of players, which was awesome. And another thing I always try to pass along to new players is don't ever let anyone get the best of you in this game. Like, if people want to play this game, let them play your game. Don't start playing their game. And station defense, I think, is the best example of that because when you're hitting my station and I am online actively repairing, you are playing my game at that point. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like
Yep,
you
are.
you are in control. Like there is no one else in control because now you can do multiple things. You could repair your ships and then no one's getting through, or you could just bubble. Say, nope, not worth my time. I'm just going to bubble up and let it be. Like you are in 100% control when you're actively online and people are hitting your stations.
Yeah,
And
those
more people need to have fun with the game.
Yeah, those 1 hour bubbles are a beautiful thing. It's like, hey, I don't have time to deal with this 1 hour bubble, and then do your thing, come back an hour later, and chances are, whoever it is, just kind of roll over, they just roll over and being dead at that point. It's like, yeah, well, I'm done here. I'm not gonna be able to get through, so they'll pour it off somewhere else, and I've done that
Oh,
multiple times. And the funny thing is, it's like, yeah, I'll message back, oh, that was cute. I don't have time for this, so find me another time, and it's like I threw a bubble up. I've got real life getting me, so you're not gonna get my stuff. I got other things to do right now.
Oh, definitely. I do the same thing. You get a big, one of the new jellyfish come in and crack your base. I'm just like, well, I'm just going to relocate and let them spend 20 minutes trying to find my station now. You know, I'm
Yeah,
like,
I'm thankful I don't have that problem where it's like I'll just
well,
relocate
trust
and
me, if there was, I bet you my station has been hit no less than 500 times since this game has started. Like, I don't even, it doesn't even flinch me anymore. Like some people are probably like, station intact coming. Like, oh no, I'm just like, yep, next, next, next,
next
next.
next.
I don't care.
See,
Like,
and I like what you say as far as the base defense. It's like, you know what? You just keep hitting the repair button, throw 1,000 tread at it every single time that a cannon gets dropped. Okay, well, so
well,
keep
yeah,
repairing.
that's it for station defense. That's why I said just for all the new players doing station defense, warp your ships away from your station, send them to some level 1 planet, send them to somewheres where they're not going to be hit, and just use the station because the repair costs are nothing. I'm You could probably do a station defense for maybe an hour for 50,000 titanium, and I'm talking hitting some heavy hitters,
Yeah,
and that's
that
part of the
makes
fun.
much more sense.
You know what?
Yeah.
I would actually love. I mean, I would love to be having you come back on the show and just do just basic strategy, and so because some of the things that you were talking about, I've heard it and I've kind of seen it rumbling through, and a lot of things never really rang with me on certain things, but just to you know just spend a little bit of knowledge, because here's the way I see it: what knowledge do you have, and what we all have that we share for these new players and the low levels and these youngsters getting in here, not necessarily youngsters age. I'm talking youngsters and game age. We're all old and decrepit and farting dust as far as the game's concerned for being a year. But a lot of these young players come and like, how do you do this? And I'm notorious. I have fun with new players in GC. Oh my god, I'll throw a line out and I'll wait for them to bite the hook and I reel them in, have a little bit of fun with them. But but in reality, it's like trying to start that conversation with them, and then it's like, this is what you do. You do this, do that, and just show how helpful it is just to kind of build them up. Because what I'm getting at with that is if we can bring our knowledge to these younger or new players to the server, to the game, it makes it that much more fun for us so we can battle later.
Yeah. And one of the tricks I found, again, a lot of the tricks that work for me are probably not going to work for a lot of people because there's no need for a lot of them. But say I'm in one side of a system and somebody locks on from the other side, all you have to do is warp, hit recall, and then instantly cancel your warp, and their lock will come off. Does that make sense? So then they'll have to click on your ship, lock on, and hit attack again, where you can keep warping and hitting that red X to cancel the warp. And every time you do that, their attack on you is going to drop.
Right, because
So,
they can't lock on and warp. They're not a dreadnought.
Right.
but as soon as you cancel the warp, they can click on your name and lock on again. But I'll constantly, like, as soon as somebody lock on, I'll warp out, hit cancel, get rid of their lock on, and then I'll warp out because you can be hit during. If that, I hope I'm making sense right now.
No, it makes perfect sense.
If you locked on to me and I hit warp, you have like a 4-second window where you could attack my ship. Where if I hit recall cancel, I now bought myself the same amount of time that it's going to take you to now click on my ship and hit attack again.
Right.
Is that a lot? Probably not. But if you're not ready for it, it could be just enough time for me to get out. And like I tell you, I like to be hunted. Like this is part of the game that content I've created for myself, you know?
Oh, sure. And that's something cool right there. And everybody can say, oh, well, that's an exploit. No, it's not. You cannot lock on while they're warping. While they're charging their engines, yes, you can lock on. But once they finally hit warp, you can't go anywhere. But if you charge up and you're like, cancel the warp, because you have
they lose that lock.
Cancel. Right, they lose that lock. And then you can move on to somewhere else, and then you can finally warp out. So it's a game mechanic. You know, I wouldn't have an issue with that. It's actually smart tactic. Now, if again the game or Scopely has an issue with it, then they'll make whatever repair necessary. But it's not cheating.
I don't think it's cheating. I don't even know if that was intended or not, or if that's something I found. But there's probably not a lot of people out there who every time they warp into a system, they're instantly locked on by every single ship in that system. You know,
you got every miner coming at you.
Yeah, I'll warp in the Tassetti, and then instantly, like it's like, well, first of all, I'm anti-faction, so I get locked on by a faction attack ship, and then like it's just like every single ship goes red, and I'm just like, I'm gonna leave. I'm not gonna stay in this system. I'll go hit their miner in a different system. And I love the people who were like, well, Johnny has like a system, like, and people who tried to guess my warp points, you know, they'll look at the map and they'll say, I think Johnny's going to warp here next. Or I'm going to think he's going to warp there next. And you know what? Some people are pretty smart at this game. I got to give some credit. Like, I'll warp in, but they have a faster ship. So they're in the system before I get there and they'll like pop me. And I love it. You know, it's like good for them.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
cool, man.
They've gotten it. So before we started, we put out a question in Galaxy Chat for you, and it was, what questions do you have for Johny Chainsaw? So we covered a bunch of them, but first up here is, does the hate mail that you receive get to you personally?
Hands down, it does not. That is the best part of this game. You know, I think a lot of people get a lot of hurt feelings and they want to just report every message. Like somebody tells them like, you're a mean guy. It's like, well, I'm going to report you, the Scopely, not me. All we do is I take those love letters, I post them in my Johnny Love Letter group on our Discord and give everybody a laugh. Do some of them go to the extreme? Yes, but it's a game. It's a game, guys.
Absolutely.
Now, when people message me and say, you know, Johnny, I hope you and your family dies and that when you come home, your dog is hanging from the ceiling fan. Yeah, that's a little extreme. And those are real messages. But for the most part, you know, where people are just like, you know, I've been called Johnny Dicksaw. Oh, my God. I've been called that name more times than I think anything else. And I love the cleverness of the people in the galaxy is how they could because really, chainsaw, you could just replace the word chain with any word and it works. Like fag saw, chainsaw. And it's just like, good for you guys. Like, I'm glad I'm giving you the content.
Or fuck stick, you know.
Or when I get messages that are just all stars because every single word that they sent me was censored, and then I have to make up my own sentence. I'm like, I don't want to start swearing, but I start making up my own sentence of what they were trying to say.
See, what you do is you reply back, go, do me a favor. I didn't see anything that you just said. Space out your letters next time.
Or when I have to go to Google Translate because the hate mail's in a different language. And I'm like, we have a lot of like Portuguese players on this server, and I have to like translate it. And then Google Translate's like, this contains dirty information. Are you sure you want to continue?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
please do.
Yeah.
So what you do is you take a screenshot of the love letter and then a screenshot of Google Translate. You post, okay, here's what I got.
We can find
this was a translate. Which actually we're going to get into having you read the love letters here in a minute or two. We kind of wanted to finish up with some of the listener questions because that's part of the show. We have what we call Censor Suite. I guess we should have started off with that one. So this is kind of an interview. We do bring in some elements of just the me and Ramius together doing our actual scheduled show. But something like this, it's kind of a Censor Suite. This right here is kind of a Censor Suite type show. Where we'll bring in listener questions and then have our guests answer them and all that good stuff. A lot of folks like to do quizzes and everything else. So
yeah, fire some more of the questions, and I'll try not to go too in depth to any of the answers.
No, you're good.
Okay. How many unopened PvP chests is he up to now?
I think I told you guys before I'd have to open my game, but what was it, 6,900 and change?
Yeah, it was somewhere around that area when we were talking about it earlier.
Yeah, let me open up my app right now. And the reason I'm doing that is because there was a little bit of an argument going on within, do PvP chests pay out or do PvE chests pay out? And some people were like, no, PvP are good. So right now I'm sitting at 6,921. And when I hit 10,000, I'm going to open them. And I think it's going to give a big enough sample that there will be no more argument of whether or not they pay. That's about it.
I have a question for you. Actually, are you iOS or Android?
Yeah, iOS.
Okay. Do me a favor, if you would be so gracious. When you go to open those, do a screen, an actual recording from your iPhone.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna do it.
And then, would you mind firing that off to us, and then we'll have you back on the show to talk about that?
Sure. And
awesome, man.
If you could find the super nerd out there that wants to watch 10,000 PvP chests being open and create a spreadsheet and stuff, they're more than welcome, but I can't spend that kind of time doing that.
Well, or just open it up just a little bit at a time, honestly, because I'm not.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because trust me, there are people out there that will watch that.
Dude, I'm a data cruncher too, but that's just too much work.
So I have a question. When you said that you had a bunch of them stacked up at one point in time, how many did it open up at once?
50. Yeah, that's the max you could open, 50 chests at a time. So to open 10,000 will take a very long time.
Oh yeah. Honestly, if you could open up a couple hundred, just at one time, that would literally be content enough. It would probably take 2-3 minutes to do that. A nice little 2-3 minute video segment, and then we can talk about that while we're doing. Because actually, what we do is we just have you do it on the show, open up while you're on the show, and do the recording. Fire the recording off to us, and then we can overlay it on top of. So that would be awesome, man.
Yeah. All right. What's the next question?
Is your mother proud that you have such a high kill ratio?
All right. First of all, sorry, I don't live in my mom's basement. I know this is going to hurt a lot of people's feelings out there.
Damn it!
I don't want to ruin the mystique of me living in a basement playing this game, but no, I don't think my mom even knows I play this game. But I'm sure she'd be proud of her baby boy.
That is awesome, man.
That's my boy.
Yeah, there you go.
He was such a good boy when he was a kid. I don't know what the hell happened to him now.
I think that would make a better podcast is me just trying to explain to my mom like what this game is.
Oh shit.
Like the lack of understanding.
Mom walks by. What the hell are you playing?
Yeah.
I'll tell you later, Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Mom, if you double click this mine real quick and then you send this ship here and then you attack this ship, she'd be like,
You can
what
piss off
happened?
the whole galaxy.
I failed you as a mother.
the college education that we helped you try to get in to get, and this is what the fuck you're doing, really?
Yep. All right, what's the next question?
Let's see. If the leaderboard were wiped clean, would you do anything differently?
No, I would just continue to play my game. Whether I was in an alliance with 300 people in an alliance of one, I would still do what I do.
Nice. Stay true to
Excellent.
yourself.
So we talked a little bit about this before the podcast, but how did you get started sweeping?
So when I first downloaded the game, it was just part of it, right? Like going around hitting ships. Like that was the aspect of this game that I found very entertaining, was just like that PvP aspect. And it's just grown to, like I said, that content of more or less, I don't want to use the word hated, but I'm pretty hated.
Yeah, you are.
But you know,
say it isn't so.
Yeah, no, yeah. Come on, man.
I enjoy the hunt, right? I enjoy people not kind of being ready for me, the clear systems. It serves a little bit of a purpose in the fact that it clears all these mines for other players. But just starting it was just fun. You know, maybe it's not fun for you guys, but it was fun for me.
Well,
And it created a dynamic within the game's, I guess, call it ecosystem or whatever you want to call it. It created this person to rally against, you know, like Johny Chainsaw and JLP, like these bad guys. And it's fun to play the bad guys because it's a game, right? Like it's not real life. It's just fun. So that's the answer to that question.
Get out there and hit somebody in the game where you can't do it in real life.
Yeah, and then let them hit you back, and you know what? You make a lot of friends playing this game. It's fun. And
believe it or not, I actually have, like Wingo. She was being absolutely hilarious. She come by, she smacked my base. I'm like, well, that was funny. She goes, snags potted plant, runs off. Well,
yeah,
you heard that part of the episode. Well, it was a running joke. I got her the other day. She never replied back. I'm actually kind of upset and hurt. Thanks, Wingo. Appreciate it. You could have said haha or flipped me off or something, but you didn't. You just worked out of the system and didn't say anything. Love you anyways. But now it was funny because I took a fortunate and I said I'll just drive by with a fortunate, do a drive by and take my potted plant later. So I found her a couple days, launched a fortunate at her base, got in the message that said steals potted plant back, goes back home, and didn't get any response out of her. So hopefully this might rattle.
No, Wingo's pretty. She's pretty awesome, and she's a good alliance leader. I think when they gave her control of that alliance, she was pretty low level at the time, but she handled it pretty well. And there's definitely a lot of heat that comes with being an alliance leader of one of the JLP sister alliances.
No, yeah, I'm sure the hot seat's an understatement. It's made out of molten lava the whole time.
Yeah, I always joke like she's like the Captain Janeway of JLP because she's got to be out in this quadrant all by herself, still trying to kind of follow the Prime Directive, but she's just having to do everything she can to kill every type of person that attacks that ship.
Nice. Well, cool, man. I think at this time we're gonna go ahead and have you. We're gonna call this segment Johnny's Love Letters. I know you sent me and Ramius a buttload of these letters. So go ahead and read a few of your favorites. Read them verbatim, and feel free to do a name drop because we're not gonna, it's just what it is. They know they sent it, so and we'll actually have the video footage of all the slideshow as you're reading it. so that way,
All right.
we can do some fun with it.
So you're gonna fire them off to me then?
Actually, just whatever you've got, just some of your favorite ones that you've gotten.
Oh, you're asking. I got to go into the Johnny Love Letters group. Oh boy, there's a lot to scroll through. I want to say, I think there's over 700. I don't know. You're gonna have to ask somebody in our lines to give you a better.
Well, you sent me a damn near a novel
I
the other
actually have
day.
access. They gave me access.
Oh, all right. It's gonna take forever to download. There's so many. All right. I'll just go to where it's. Well, first off, I love the people who change their names. To like. Here's one that popped up because this is also in my love letter group. The player's name is Johnny Can Suck It. Those things make me laugh. There we go. Okay, now, are you ready to beep out a lot of this? Because I'm going to read them.
Yeah, read it verbatim, man.
Empty minor, you fuck. Go suck a dick, reported douchebag. I don't know how they reported me, but I guess. You are a piece of shit, bitch. Guess I'll keep telling you what a bitch you are, douchebag. Let's see.
Yeah, and give us a little bit of your kind of reaction toward that, because this is hilarious. This is pure gold, man.
Yeah. Here we go. JLP, Johny Chainsaw, Italian Blend, and Dan. This is an older one. Are some of the worst example of human beings I've seen. Pray that I don't find you when you least expect it, because if I do, I'm going to bust your ass. Man, there's a lot. There's a lot of eat a dicks. A lot of those. Let's see. You are the biggest douche ever. Fuck you. A-hole, a lot of a-hole. I'm trying to find the good ones. You guys are putting me on the spot.
Oh, I mean, there's no pressure. I mean, it's just like I said, you find a few of they're your favorites.
Would be nice to finish the daily without your stupid cocksucking ass taking out empty ships. Chode. Oh, here's a nice one. Somebody wrote, "Thank you, sweetheart." Aw. A lot of cowards. Fucktard. Chicken shit asshole. Move your fucking ass off the protected planet with the rest of us. Hey, if Johnny chicken shit, are you living on that protected planet still? Were you always a prick, or did you have to work for it?
I think I know who said that.
All right, here we go. Here's the Spanish one. Let's see if I could read this. Que pasa que me destruidis todas las naives. Well, so maybe somebody could translate that.
Beep 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 beep.
A lot of fuck you, asshole. Look out, Johnny. You're close to getting shagged. Eat well, my friend. For tomorrow, I'll feast upon your dead, rotten carcass. If there was ever a fleet commander convention, I will locate you and fuck you up in the bath. Leave you there leaking. That's a promise. So I will never be at the Star Wars fleet convention. There's how's it going, Dick? There's so many of these. All right. You're such a little cocksucker. I really do hope you get gang raped until your asshole bleeds and end up with AIDS. That's a nice one.
Wow.
Damn.
I was hoping your account would get banned for violating the terms of service agreement. You and the other JLP grifters are the reason so many people quit this game, which, come on. You think I'm really the... There's some people that are now current JLP members I'm reading. You faggot ass pussy. But thanks, I was stuck on the nod. You must be a child. Yeah, a lot of people think I'm a child. There's one that somebody wrote, "I love you." What a person. See, there are sweet people out there. This one just says, "Eat a dick as usual."
Oh, holy shit.
What the ever living shit is wrong with you besides being retarded? Question mark.
Well.
Oh, here's one. This person, if they're listening, knows. So they sent me. They said, "Hey, dude, I went to a craft show with my kids and found a star made out of chainsaw links. Made me think of you, so I bought it." Oh my god! Can you imagine you're walking around with your family and you're like, "Wow, that reminds me of good old Johny Chainsaw. Let me buy this and hang it up in my house." I don't say this, but when I do, I mean it. I truly hate you. If I had money like you or a mommy's credit card.
Oh,
Sorry, guys.
Ouch.
You stupid little fuck. What the fuck is up with these glitches that seem to favor your bitch ass? This is the third time I have caught up with you. Instead of taking you out, I just sped past. My shield and and he loses his shield. I run away from your little dickless fuck. Your cheating ass, get fucked.
Wow. You know,
A lot
and
of you suck.
do what?
A lot of these are just you suck.
suck.
I mean, I'm scrolling through these. They're just so many censored.
You know, it's funny because some of the ones you sent me, I looked at one of them and it was just there were stars everywhere. I thought I was starting to see stars there for a minute.
I
Like,
mean,
holy
there's just too many. You could do this for days. Like,
yeah,
there's just so many. I'm trying to find the good ones. Like I said, scroll. I love when people think I quit the game because I haven't hit them. You are such a fucking como ass fuckstick. If I find your cunt, or I'm guessing that says cum. If I find your cum guzzling ass in the real world, God, I wish you would get all fucked up and die. That was a nice one.
Wow. Not only are they illiterate with that one, but good God. The question is though, you have to ask yourself: is it illiteracy on some of those, or are they just so frustrated that they're typing so fast they can't get it out?
Maybe a little bit's on my end because I'm trying to read a lot of stars and make words.
Well, yeah, but like a lot of them. I mean, I had one guy. I hit his base and drained him, and he came back at me, and he was furious texting. He was missing words and getting dyslexic like none
Oh,
other.
I think people get all fired up. I love the way people are able to get their ways through, like and put like here's a good one, cunt, but with a V, CVUNT to get past the censors. And it says I realize it may be difficult, but it'd be nice if you'd stop being a cunt.
Oh wow.
I feel sorry for you. You have my pity. I pray for you. Well, may the Lord be with you too.
Oh
we
man.
have some salty individuals on this server, that's for sure.
Well, here's the $1 million question. How's it feel to live rent free in all these people's heads?
Oh man, I wish I could monopolize that. All right, here we go. Here's an example of how far people think. I'm going to make sure you get banned from this game because you don't obey the rules. And keep in mind, these rules he's talking about are ROE, or rules of engagement. You are seriously a fucking asshole. You need to die for real, and I'm reporting you again. So people keep trying to report me for not cheating.
Yeah, that's the problem with a lot of people. Like those is the ROE. Yeah, those are sanctioned by your general consensus of folks that you play with, not the game. And and unfortunately, there's times where we have to remind folks, even in our alliance, we have to remind, hey, listen, the ROEs that we set up are generalized to us. You know, nobody has to follow them, but if they don't follow them, we go out and have fun.
You know, here's the ones that. So I guess you asked if any of them bother me. Like, here's an example of one that kind of bothers me, like that people could think like this. He goes, it's a little longer. He goes, you keep coming after me, but that's okay. I'm not going to let you report me again. I never reported this guy. Though I will say that it was a shame about Screw. Didn't seem like the kind of person that should have something like that happen to him. Not why there are people in this world that would be more deserving of something like that. Like, that is just
that's
messed
just wrong.
up.
That's
it's wrong on so many levels.
wow. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have a sick, twisted sense of humor, and I either get forehead slaps or extremely hard laughing with my sense of humor, but that is just fucked up. Period.
Yeah. Well, here's a little nicer one. Johnny, violence is not the answer. Jesus is the answer.
As true as that may be, it's still fun to be violent in a game.
Oh my God, man, there's so many of them. I think people out there listening don't really understand how many I'm scrolling unless they're JLP or like maybe have access like you guys do, but there's a lot.
Well, yeah, like I said, we were hoping that you kind of had a few of them that were your absolute favorites, and it sounds like you hit quite a few.
Hey, you guys still there? Sorry, I had it.
Yeah,
we're still here. Go ahead.
No, that's all right. It's gonna start chain calling pretty soon. Yeah, there's just so many people. Oh God, guys, I can't even start. Maybe if you find some in the future, we could do a podcast of just me reading 500 hate mails.
Actually, I think we'll do that. We'll have you back on and have you. We'll do a little bit of research and on this side of it.
And
if you have a bunch, just say, hey, this one right here, this one right here, this one right here.
Yeah. This one says, take a whole bunch of pills for us. You will not be missed.
Wow. Oh,
that's it.
Shit. What the hell is wrong with people?
This one says, I can't tell you how much I wish I knew where you lived, you steaming pile of shit. You are the only person I have ever met gaming who I wish something bad would happen to. Well, well, here's a nice one. This is from Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, asshat.
That's tame compared to some of the shit you've spread to us. Oh. I'll tell you what though, man. The day that you launched all those to me, I was on the phone with Ramius, and I was
trying to drive.
Yeah, he was trying to drive. I was just kind of hanging out in my bedroom for a minute. I just got home from work, and I'm reading through that, scrolling through it. I'm laughing so hard. I got tears streaming down my face. I've got him trying to wreck his truck. It's like, man, all right. Like, he goes, look, I can't handle anymore right now. You've got to send me those.
Yeah. There's just so many. Like, people don't realize like the bulk amount of PMs I get just from people asking for bad things that happen to me.
Jeez.
But there was a good one I can't find. There was one like somebody was talking in Galaxy chat like, "Oh, Johny Chainsaw hit me again," and somebody responded back, "I hope that guy cops AIDS."
Oh.
Like that's like a slow, painful death, I guess. Hi, cutie. Real life, I'd put you in the pooper, popper, and then he wrote again, pooper, and then he said, "Fucking autocorrect."
I mean, I've been a gamer. I've jokingly said something on the other end is like, man, I hope you get syphilis and your dick falls off. I've jokingly said some shit like that, but I have never went to the extent of wishing death upon them. That is.
Getting a phone call in. We're gonna have to wrap this up now that I'm start getting chain calls from the wife.
Oh
yeah. Gotta take care of her.
Yeah. As soon as I ignore one, it's just like nonstop. What's wrong? What's wrong? I'm just like, I'm talking about that game that you hate me playing.
Now don't tell her that, because then we won't be able to get you back on the show again.
Oh, I would never tell her I was on a podcast, man. She wouldn't.
You'd be in the doghouse for sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh, here's one that's in your channel. Says, "What's the matter? Did I make you cry? You had to come back and blow up my miners again. You sure showed up. You're a big boy, didn't you? Mommy must be so proud."
But yeah, man, like I said, we'll get you back on the show here, and we'll just do a whole show of Johnny's love letters and have you read them, similar to the not so nice tweets. And I don't.
We're gonna have to put a warning on it for all anybody younger out there or somebody that can't handle some real obscene things.
We have to be careful. We have to keep it PG, but that's what the censor button's for. but for the amount that you get that you just read there, Rabius is going to be busy for a while. So well, cool, man. Well, hey, buddy, thank you so much again for hanging out with us, and you've definitely exceeded my expectations of the podcast here. As far as what we talked about today, it's actually it's nice to finally know that you're not a robot.
Well, like I said, it's a voice behind the name. I hope this doesn't like affect any of my in-game relationships with other people who try to hit me all the time.
Honestly, man, I don't think it will. I hope that the content creation still rolls for you,
Definitely.
as far as that goes. But seriously, folks, he's a human being. He bleeds just like we do. Enough with the damn death threats.
Yeah, please.
Just stop.
But you can keep sending me ones like this. Fuck you, douche canoe. But
yeah. Keep the funny shit coming, but just stop wishing death upon him. Wish him syphilis or something. But just no, I'm teasing. But no, just enough with the death threats. The guy's got a life, and he's just here having a good time like the rest of us. Yeah, and you are very misunderstood up till today. So hopefully now everybody kind of gets a glimpse into the world of Johnny and why you play the game, because you really are a man of few words, and the fact that we've gotten you on the show and kind of cracked a tough nut to open up with us and share some laughs and actually just have a good time doing this, because you do have that kind of I'm the bad guy running around with a black hat mentality, or there's not mentality, I should say, the personality as viewed through other people's eyes. So you have that, you enjoy playing that part, which is pretty freaking awesome.
No, I enjoy the game, man. Like,
Sure.
I played the game how it was designed. I'm sorry that people don't like that it was designed a certain way with a PvP aspect, which I've far from exploited PvP like people have said to me in the past. It's just me playing the game, having fun, Just that's why we're all here. It's just to have fun and to add content or make the game more interesting is just like why we're here, right?
Right on, man. Right on.
Sure enough.
But hey guys, I appreciate everything you guys do too. I think it's pretty cool that you've taken the time to make these podcasts, and I know some of your podcasts are for some of the newer players, just explaining very basic mechanics, but all that stuff is very helpful, especially at the beginner levels. I think when the three of us started, we had to, I guess, call it discover a lot of those mechanics ourselves, and that could be challenging in any game. So I think that's pretty cool what you guys do there too.
Right on, man. Well, and again, thank you for
you.
coming on the show. And you and for the record, you actually reached out to us, and that right there that speaks volumes of who you are, as a human being and as a person, and that's pretty damn awesome. We've all had our run-ins on the server, so it just is what it is, and that's part of the game. But for you to actually come on the show with us is awesome, man.
And don't you guys worry, I'll still be hitting your minors.
Oh, I'm sure you will, and we'll still be hunting you down.
Oh yeah.
we could be friends, but I'm sorry. I'm trying to find like a good love letter to end this off on. Oh, here we go. Hold on. I don't know if I should end it with one of the good ones or one of the bad ones. Like, here we go. We'll end it with this one. Thank you, sweetheart.
Hey, if anybody's listening to this and you want to ask Johnny some questions, reply back to us at hashtag thank you, sweetheart, because I want to see this shit. All right, man. Hey, buddy, have a good day. Enjoy yourself. Get back home to mama there before she makes you chainless chainsaw.
Oh.
You're not playing the game anymore. I know what you've been doing.
There you go. I'm not afraid of a single person on this game, but I am afraid of my wife.
That would be the right person to be afraid of.
All right, buddy.
All right, guys.
Have a good day, man. We'll talk to you later.
Take it easy. All right.
See you. All right, guys. Well, that was the show. Completely wild show. I really didn't have. I had no idea how this was going to go. I really didn't.
Well, I think this has been a blast. I really appreciate him joining us for this. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a good time. Again, Johnny, thanks a lot, buddy. I know you bounced off the call here, but thank you so much for giving us some insight and hanging out with us. It was really, really cool of you to spend some time with us this morning, and thank you for leaving your house. By the way, a lot of people don't know what happened here. He left the house so he could go and do this podcast for us. And for you guys. He did it for you guys too. So thank you again, man, for taking the effort and the extreme lengths that you went to hang out with us today, man. We got a good hour and 45 minutes in on this podcast with Johnny, so it was a really good time. And for those of you out there that are a part of our alliance or a part of different alliances that are friends with us, if you're pissed off about him being on our show and talking with us and us conversing with him and treating him like a human being, like a friend, piss off. I don't care. No, I'm sure Ramius doesn't care either. It's just a game. It's just a game. And if you think it's cool that we did it, hey, thank you so much for the support. I'm sure we're going to kiss some love letters over this. And if we do, hey, guess what? You're going to go take a ride in the van too, and we're going to put it on the show and show you exactly how it come across to us. The love letters and stuff that we're going to be posting that Johnny had, that he read to us. We're going to try to hunt down all the ones that he read off and try to catch those graphic ones. We have access to all those, so we're going to post some of those on the YouTube and get that out there so everybody can kind of read through and saw what we saw. There was some audio issues. I mean, it wasn't his fault. Just phone call coming in. He knew it was going to happen. And that's what we have to do as podcasters. We have to keep it flying no matter the audio issues and make things work. So, and it happens. It absolutely happens. So, with that being said, we are going to go ahead and bounce out, call it a day.
I think I hear hear the engines warming up.
Oh, wait, hold on. I think Scotty's done. You playing with? Yeah, Scotty's playing with the word engines. He's got to test something. Hey, we're out of here. We're going to keep it rocking. You guys have fun today. Go out and do some raiding. Go find Johnny. Go punt his ass off of a node. Find his ships. Have fun with him. Again, thanks a lot, Johnny. Had a good time with you. Hope to have you back on soon. With that being said, looks like Scotty's got the warp engines ready to go to get out of here. So live long, kick ass, and we'll see you on the other side of the planet. Later.
Remember to follow us on our social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We can be found on iTunes, Podbeam, Patreon, and here on YouTube. Comment below, click like if you do, and subscribe because you should have already. Do not forget to click the bell to get the alert when the next episode is available.